The Madlanga Commission, probing criminality, political interference and corruption within the criminal justice system, resumed its hearings earlier this week. However, the proceedings were done in camera, following what the Commission referred to as sensitive nature of the evidence and witnesses' safety. The Commission ruled that the next witness to take the stand will do so away from the public lens. Chief Evidence Leader Advocate Matthew Chaskalson, Senior Counsel, explained that the witness needs to be in camera due to the subject matter and the witness will present, which delves into the operations of the South African Police Service and ongoing criminal investigations. Anonymous Witness X, only known as Witness X, concluded his testimony earlier than expected on Tuesday after a technical glitch which led to Evidence Leader Advocate Adila Hassim reading Witness X's testimony into record. According to chairperson Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, the technical challenge had the potential of compromising the witness's life. Let's now unpack what the in-camera means for justice, transparency and accountability. We joined this afternoon by Professor Tlengiwe Ndlovu, who is an associate professor at the Wits School of Governance, as well as Mike Bolhayes, a security expert. Dr. Tlengiwe, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to start the conversation here. News 24 and Daily Maverick are opposing and challenging witnesses appearing in camera for specific reasons, which, of course, is an important part of the transparency conversation. How important is it for the Commission to balance delicately witnesses' testimony being either in public or in camera?
Good afternoon, Anne, and good afternoon to all the viewers. This is a very, sensitive subject that we are faced with right now, and everything that we're dealing with across South Africa. And this issue has really been, a bone of contestation, given the subject that we are addressing, which is a question of security, but not only the question of security, but also the high stakes of the inquiry, especially the people who are implicated on this inquiry. So it becomes very important, especially for the public trust, to kind of understand why are these, hearings going to be heard behind the cameras. And of course, it's justified because we've been told, it has been explained repeatedly, that this is due to the sensitivity of the matters that are being discussed, but also the fact that some of the cases are still ongoing. But also on the flip side of the coin, as the public, we are very worried, given the people who are implicated, number one, but also I think this is the first in our South African democracy where we've come close, to understand what is happening behind the closed doors of both politics as well as security. So it will be important for us South Africans to understand what is happening, but also to follow, so that we pressure both the Commission and the government, to achieve some degree of accountability, but also to do something about the findings and everything.
Okay, and importantly here is the public trust in the work of the Commission, because the nature of judicial commissions of inquiry, and of course they are quasi-judicial, right, is that it's for the benefit of the public to have a sense of what had gone wrong. And therefore, public understanding is important here. And so if certain pieces of evidence are kept away from the public, in what ways do you think it might, limit public trust in the process?
Definitely, yeah, we need to balance, right? On one hand, we've got people whose lives are in danger, of which we've seen that more often than not, the whistleblowers, they tend not to be protected and all of that. But also it begs a very serious question around the question of secrecy versus the protection of whistleblowers, because then when we are saying we're going to prioritize or to put, work behind testimonies, behind closed doors, instead of having witnesses testifying openly because we fear for their lives and all of that. It really, begs a very serious question about our democracy, number one, but also about the safety of the whistleblowers. If you look, you'll see that, for someone to become a whistleblower, especially for the address of the 6th of July from General Mkhwanizim, that was a very huge risk for his life. I think he was very aware of what he was doing.
Yeah.
But also he felt like someone needed to do something about the issue.
Yeah. Mike, I want to bring you into the conversation here. From a witness protection perspective and an investigation for the integrity of the investigation, what practical steps must be taken, importantly, to ensure the integrity of the testimony and the information and the witnesses in ways that make sense practically?
Well, number one, this is done to protect the witnesses, because we have seen in South Africa that whistleblowers are killed or extremely intimidated. There's many ways and means they could get somebody not to testify. So they might alter the voices. As you've said, they are named X, and they are part of a staff and group of these committees which is doing investigations. Remember, it's not only inquiries, they're doing investigations, and therefore this person is totally and absolutely protected, and no information about this person may be leaked out. And that's why this whole group that is involved with these whistleblowers or testifiers is extremely private and confidential for the sake of making sure that they are safe. It also gives them the opportunity to really say what they mean and mean what they say, because they're not sitting in front of people. There's no body language or eye contact. There's no fear of how do I get to court, or who's going to see me, or being known to the public. But they are also extremely scrutinized as well. So they are profile tested, because it's one thing to give information. You must make sure that it's factual and that it is up to standard and requirements that puts you in a spot that you are going to be protected literally for life, and that these extreme measures are then taken in order to protect your identity.
Yeah. Mike, if you and I work in the same organization and you anonymously make certain claims against me, and I am then told about the claims that implicate me and I'm asked to respond, given my understanding of the operational nature of the organization, I might be able to triangulate that this information can only come from Mike Bolhuis and no one else. In such an instance, how then does a witness get protected? Because not only do they get protected from the public, and that's important, but they also get protected, they have to get protected from those they implicate, who might be able to deduce that they are the source of the information.
The moment that deduction is made and that person identifies himself as being in extreme danger, this committee, these inquiry procedures and members will take an informed decision and put him in a witness protection program. That is what I'm very concerned about, because it hasn't been effective in the past, but I'm sure by now, especially with this extreme organized crime and racketeering investigations, which clearly shows that they have no qualms in taking a life. I mean, let's just look at Brian Magotsi. He was warned, and that's why he fled the premises. And he himself said it, but we knew from the start that he is on a list. The possibility of him being murdered is possible. So a person like him should actually come forward and request the committee and the investigators to put him in a witness protection program. Because I think if Brian Magotsi comes forward, we'll see everything. We'll hear everything. In fact, we'll get everything.
I want to play you this clip, Mike, of Brian Magotsi telling me something but very interesting, and I want to hear your response to it. Let's have a listen to this conversation I had with Brian Magotsi on Thursday evening here on SABC News. Look, I understand from the testimony, or at least from the press briefing and then later testimony of General Matlanga, that you had access to sensitive state crime intelligence information, which has become now party to the investigation. Is that indeed truly the case?
Let's allow the commission to commence. I've been served with the notice in terms of the commission regulations, which I have requested the extension and was granted for me to produce all these evidence. I like using this word being around. Trust me, I'm authorized to have that information. Trust me, I am authorized.
What is the basis of your authorization?
Yeah, no, don't worry, don't become, unless if you're Maganda yourself.
Well, Mike, you heard him there. He says he's authorized to access crime intelligence information. I don't know if Brown Mokotsi is on the payroll of SAPS, unless he just outed himself there as a spy. What's your take on that? He wouldn't give me the answer about his authorization, because I'm not Matlanga, I'm just Oliver Dixon. What's your take?
Well, my message to Brian is, or Mr. Mokotsi, is that he must produce the facts, the paperwork that shows that he was allowed to sensitive and extreme intelligence from government and from the authorities. If that is not there, if there's no record of that, then it's a lie. Secondly, it seems like he wants to move in a direction, because I can clearly see where this is going regarding him, like others before him that could end up dead. It's now the time that he comes forward and convinces the inquiry and the investigating units that he is prepared to give it all, and then he can be protected. He's not safe. The bottom line is he's not safe, and he's a threat to organized criminals and to the racketeers in our country.
Yeah, I'm going to have to let you go there, Mike. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. I really do appreciate it. Mike Bolhay, security expert there. I want to continue the conversation with you, Tlengiwe. With regards to Brown Mokotsi telling us, I've got access to it, I'm authorized to have access to it, clearly compromises the criminal justice system, value chain, one way or the other, if it is found later that he never had any such authorization. Are you worried about the political implications that would have for crime, safety and security in South Africa, right from the top to the bottom of SAPS and its ancillary functionalities?
I'm definitely worried, as my colleague Mike has already said, that Brian Mokotsi right now is not safe. We can consider him as safe. But also we've known the game of politics, and we've seen these patterns over the years unfolding and all of that, to say there is one way of eliminating, those who dare to come forward to witness. But also you know that at this point there's been what we can call a big fallout between the ANC, maybe via the Secretary General, as well as Brian Mokotsi. Brian Mokotsi saying my membership is valid, and then Fikile Mbalula coming here to say he's not a member of the ANC. But also I still beg the bigger question, for South Africans, how does he get so much access to this information? Is he cleared to have access to that information? And here, really, the Madlanga Commission is going to help us in terms of clarifying those boundaries, but also some legal aspects who are going to explain to us who gets access to what information and how do they get access to that information. Because we are not just talking about, general information that is available out there to every South African citizen. We are talking about very critical information, intelligence information and all of that. And when we find politicians like Brian Mokotsi having access to that information, it really begs a bigger question about the safety even of us as citizens and other people within the system. Even these police who are testifying here at the commission, it's a very, really big risk, and it will be interesting to see how both the commission and the government handle all of those issues.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to leave the conversation there. Dr. Matlanga and Ndlovu, thank you so much for your time this evening. I really do appreciate it, as well as Mike Bolhay, who was with us in this conversation as well.